Hello guys, welcome back in the cockpit. Glad everybody had time to join on short notice. That's very good to see. First of all, sorry that it took a little bit longer for this 5th episode. There was simply too much stuff to do at work, a number of short notice, very urgent projects and some other stuff that had to be taken care of. But I think today is a very good day for the next episode, which will bring us to Portoroz in Slovenia. Let's zoom in here. We are currently at Asiago Airport, where we flew to almost 2 weeks ago from Trento. And let's zoom in here on the beautiful Alps and see where we are. There it is, Asiago, and our epic E1000 is nicely parked on the apron. Doors still open, lots of stuff here. Somebody even brought a small baggage car. Don't know who that was, not me anyway. We'll have to get rid of that later. And yeah, let's jump right into the preparations. Compared to the last 2 or 3 flights, this one will be a little bit more complicated, simply because there is not just an easy direct VFR route, but a little bit a longer flight plan. Second half of that following IFR routing. Let's discuss that a little bit in detail. Let's bring up Firefox here so I can show you that. That's not working as expected. Maybe we find something intermediate like this. Yeah, why not like that? This looks good. So on the right side you can see the routing which the auto router came up with. Actually the router gives you like 20 options or so. This is the one which for me made most sense. Of course we don't have our instrument departure out of Asiago simply because Asiago is not an IFR airfield. But this was the routing which had like the most reasonable pick-up point, and at least the second half of the route seemed to be quite reasonable. Basically how it works is we depart Asiago VFR and then go on a eastern heading and cross into the this area north of Venice, and here at this Risom intersection the IFR part of the flight basically starts. The auto router flight plan says that we can fly this part of the route in VFR in flight level 140. I'm not sure if that is really possible like this in reality, since here we already have a class Delta airspace, but for the time being and for the sake of this simulation, we just assume that this would be possible. And probably in reality IFR pickup would be somewhere here when we cross into the Delta airspace, and then we would get some sort of a direct to Risom, and from Risom we make this quite nice turn here north of Trieste, and then start the arrival part of the flight into Portoroz here, we are crossing the Gulf of Trieste and up to the Barpi intersection, and from there the arrival starts, which is the Barpi to Alpha or to Bravo, something like that. Let's see what it says here. Yeah, the Barpi to Papa actually, which brings us right above Portoroz, and then we basically go all the way back again, because we will then follow the VOR approach onto runway 15, which takes us out again over these how is it called, this Gulf of Portoroz here, over Piran and almost all the way back to Barpi, and then we make a procedure turn and go in again for landing on runway 15. We will have a look at the approach chart later on, but that's basically the plan for the flight. I have already loaded that into SkyDemon, which we will use again for visualization during the flight, and what we still have to do is punch all these waypoints into the Garmin 1000, which might take a few minutes, so should you have any other business to attend in the meantime, like getting a coffee or going to the bathroom or whatever, that would be a good time to do. Yeah, anything else? Weather is mostly fine. You can see here the webcam from Portoroz, so clear skies. Only to the west of us, to the west of Asiago, there are a few more clouds, which you might have seen on the intro when we zoomed in on the airport. And this is basically the southern edge of this cold front, I think you could say, that's currently moving over Central Europe, bringing lots of rain, which is good actually, since we had a very dry April and March, and there was almost no rain here in Germany for basically for 8 weeks straight almost, and now since yesterday we had quite some heavy rainfalls, and that really helps for the vegetation and everything. But it doesn't really affect the northern Italy so much. So no problems weather-wise, and so I think this will be a very pleasant flight. Let's jump into the cockpit and let's get the routing ready in the G1000. Something interesting probably is we can this time try to use the additional keyboard here, because this is so to say the big G1000 installation where you have this larger MFD and this additional keyboard. So this helps hopefully speeding up the process a little bit. Let's clear the current flight plan first. Say menu, delete flight plan, enter. Okay, so it knows already we are going starting from Asiago. That's good. And let's punch in the stuff. Now we can probably use the keyboard, can we? No. That's really a problem here. Can we go? How do I go now to the next? Like this? I'm pretty sure that's not how it works in reality. Yeah, I think maybe someone can answer that. But I think in reality, if you punch in a key here on the keypad, it automatically transitions to the next character in the input field. But it's not doing that here, unfortunately. So it simply stays there, which is, I think, not the correct behavior. But I can also use the, that's nice. I can also use the actual computer keyboard here, is what I just discovered. That's actually nicely done by the developers here of the Epic. That really helps. And I think it's also a little bit a more realistic feel than putting in the stuff here with the mouse. Okay. And so next waypoint is GoTech. Like this. And then we have Geekus. So this is probably extremely boring now, but for the sake of realism, we have to go through that. This is definitely a strong point for the newer series of Garmin avionics, like the GTNs or whatever, where you can punch in all that stuff on the touchscreen. That's saving a lot of time. Or you have the app on the iPad and transfer it just by Bluetooth, which is even better. Tango India Bravo Romeo Uniform. For some reason it won't. Sorry, I made a mistake here. Yeah? That's Tango India Bravo Romeo Oscar. Now we have it. Okay. So we are already halfway through, so bear with me. Almost done. Next is Papa Echo Zulu Sierra Uniform Tango. Yeah, that looks about right. This is already in Slovenia. Yep. And it's not completely consistent here, how the keyboard, the physical keyboard is mapped to the avionics. So this is still something explain, probably can improve a little bit, but at least it's helping a little bit to be able to hit the actual keys here. Oscar Golf, Oscar Delta India, and that's the first waypoint, or after the top of descent, at least as it was calculated by Autorouter, which uses the performance model of a King Air, a B200 I think, which obviously is not as performant as the Evolution, especially not in climb probably, but should give us a good rough estimate to use for our planning. Okay, next one, that's Romeo India Foxtrot Echo November. So this is now the turn north of Trieste, now coming back into southwestern direction. And we have, what's that? Romeo Charlie Hotel, that seems to be a VOR, Romeo Charlie Hotel. Ronchi, exactly. Italy, VOR, jawohl. And on we go. I think we have to get ground power, otherwise yeah, I did start the ground power unit because our batteries are not so good. The sound is interesting. Okay, let's continue. Kilo Echo Bravo Bravo uniform. That's obviously it's not finding that. It's not in the database. So we directly go to our the initial point for the arrival. Basically that is only a straight line anyway down there, which you might have seen already on the routing I showed previously. So let's go to Barbie, and from there it's already Portoroz, and we load the as usual with the Garmin, we load the actual approach and arrival later separately. So let's put Portoroz here. Lima, Juliet, Papa, Zulu. Okay, very nice. That's it. Let's just zoom out a little bit to get an overview if that looks. Yeah, okay, I think that looks exactly as what was planned and shown on the Autorouter webpage. Okay, so that means we are ready to go. Let's set the first altitude already so that we don't mess that up. It was 100 flight level 140. So let's put that in here. Okay. And let's check the altimeter. Okay, that looks also good. Okay, so considering that, I think we are set. Let's have a short look here again on the Sky Demon to make sort of a quick departure briefing. So we are on the apron here in Asiago, and since the runway in Asiago is pretty sloped, you usually take off on the runway 26 into western direction. So that's what we do. Take off in western direction, then we will make a left turn, because to the left the valley is a little bit bigger to the left side, so there's enough room for us to turn around without going really too slow. And then we'll pick up our first leg here, which will bring us basically following the southern edge of the Italian Alps to Risom, and then from Risom we follow this routing here, which we just programmed in the G1000. Okay, so I would say let's get rid of this annoying ground power unit. That's really ridiculous. And then we can start with the takeoff preparations. And we don't need the rest of that stuff. This tow bar and all this should also have disappeared now. Yes, so we are really good to go now. Very nice. Light wind from the south here, so that's absolutely no problem for us here to make the takeoff downhill, which is also simply quicker and faster for us to taxi. Okay, let's grab the checklist. Pre-flight cockpit, parking brake is set. Flex wheels jobs, we have just removed that and we have done our outside check. Condition lever is on cut-off, gear lever is down, battery 1 and 2 is on, flaps down, fuel quantity is enough. We have almost full tanks still from our flight last week. We topped off the tanks in Trento, and we only used very little on that short hop here up to Asiago. And let's see if the flaps actually deployed. That looks good. Very nice. Okay, so before start checklist, fuel selector is on the fullest tank, the right one. I think that's really actually the fullest. Yeah, looks like the right one has a little bit more. Propeller lever is out of beta. Here. And actually it looks like there is still a small problem here. No, it's obviously correct. It's just not showing correctly here, the beta range somehow. Okay, it's out of beta anyway. Propeller lever is feathered, condition lever is cut off, landing gear is down, switches are off, battery 1 and 2 is on, avionics master switch is on, ELT, that's over here, that's armed. Flaps going up again. And let's put on some lights so everybody is aware that we start doing some stuff here. Beacon light is on. Okay. Battery voltage. Oh my goodness. Okay, the checklist says it should be above 23 volts, which basically means we have to put on the ground power unit again. Okay, ground power, that's really something. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the thing is running, we have 28 volts, that's nice. Let's put on the strobes, prop area is clear to the left, to the right. Okay, fuel pump on, the selected tank, fuel pressure is coming up. Okay, and now we're doing this test thingy here. Fuel pressure is down again, and let's switch it, and it goes up again. Okay, and let's go back on the fullest tank. Okay, fuel system checks out. And yeah, let's start the engine. Starter on. Igniter comes on when we are above we are above 9% on the turbine, and then at 15% we put in some fuel. 13, 14, 15, ground idle, and we are looking for the ITT. Okay, that was close, but still good. We can go above 1000 degrees for less than 5 seconds. That was definitely not the case. And we are waiting for the turbine to spin up above 51%. That has already happened, so we can switch off the igniter. Starter generator is already on, and let's get rid of the ground power unit. And let's see what the voltage does. So we have 28 volts from the onboard starter generator, that's nice. Oil pressure is also in the greens, everything else is also looking green. Very nice. Okay, that seems like a good start. After engine start checklist, standby altimeter switch. Whoop. Is already on. Trim master is on, autopilot master is on, stick pusher is on, lighting, that's fine. Let's put on the taxi and the map lights, make some light here. Avionics, that was already set. Altimeter is fine, okay. And we have already gone through the flight plan, that's alright. Voltage on the batteries is still good, okay. So let's do our remaining checks here, because we don't have in Asiago, we don't have a real run-up area. Basically, from the apron, it's directly on the we taxi directly on the runway, and so we should do all the remaining checks right here from the parking position, and we are standing with the propeller pushing the air out in direction of the runway anyway. So now we're not bothering or endangering anybody, so from my point of view, this is the perfect place here to do all the rest of our open items. Put the pressurization on. Okay. Taxi checklist, propeller lever fully forward. So now the propeller starts spinning up. Flight idle should be slightly above 900, that is the case. We check the brakes on that when we actually start the taxi, put the flaps on takeoff. Trim is checked for takeoff, okay. Before takeoff checklist, flight controls, that's free and correct, I guess. Yeah, never experienced any problem, explain with that. And we want to test the propeller governor, so let's put in some power to get 1500 RPMs. Okay, that's doing it, and now we pull the propeller lever back about 4/3, and we should stay above 1000 RPM, which is the case. Okay, let's put the propeller back and the power lever also, that's fine. Switch on the transponder, VFR for the moment. No. There you go. And let's put in actually 7000 because we are in Europe. Okay, remaining points here, autopilot master switch, verify on, flight instruments are checked, that's all looking good. Flaps, verified takeoff, yes, trim is checked, igniter, we switched that on just before we line up on the runway, and external lights are already as required. We just switch from taxi to landing light once we enter the runway. Okay, very nice. I'd say that's good. Let's start the taxi. Move up the fuel point a little bit here. Yeah, that's missing. Flight idle, not ground idle. That's why it's not moving. Yeah, bye bye Asiago. Just check if there's somebody on the runway. No. Nobody on approach. Okay. Here you can see quite nicely the sloped runway. In reality, the impression is even a little bit more, a little bit stronger than here in the simulator, but you can get a sense of this slopedness down to the west. Okay, let's have a final look on the takeoff checklist. External width is required, power lever, we are looking for at least 80%. And then release the brakes, and we want to have sit so that we're a little bit higher here, and we are quite heavy. Let's go for 90% on the torque. That's like a medium performance takeoff, which should be nice. Rotate it to 80 and pull the flaps up at 120, and actually the checklist says note, expect initial climb rates of more than 3,000 feet per minute. So there's a special note here so that you don't unexpectedly bump into something like an airspace above you or anything, which you reach much faster than anticipated. Okay, so let's add power. And we have 80% on the turbine, release brakes, and looking for 90% torque. Okay, that's good enough. Rotate. Gear up. Definitely need rudder pedals. The nose down, accelerate for 120. Flaps up. Make a slight deviation to the right to gain some additional space for our left turn, which we start now. Okay, we don't even need that much bank. There's the airport below us in the town of Asiago. simply follow the flight director here to pick up our initial track for the first leg. Try to stay clear of these clouds. Remember, we are still VFR here on the first piece of the flight, and we just crossed some sort of into a different weather area, or the real weather was updated. Now the clouds are already below us, which is even better. And it looks like we are on track to resume now. Let's put in the autopilot and the yaw damper. Looking to the left, we can see that there are quite some higher clouds in the central Alps, and probably on the northern side, of course. That's this cold front which is currently affecting Central Europe, but just not coming through here to the Alps, to the southern Alps, as it is quite commonly and often the case. So nice view of the Dolomites, and also on our route. Now the nose is coming down. You can see that there are hardly any clouds in front of us. Very nice. And we can see already the lagoon of Venice to the south. So this is the northern part of the Adriatic Sea, and you can see all these small islets and lagoons, and I think Venice itself, the city of Venice, is somewhere over here to the left. Maybe we make a stop there on our way back from Portoroz. I think that would be a very good idea. Okay, we have reached flight level 180. Actually, we have already a standard altimeter setting. Obviously, that was quite close to what the QNH was, so that's good. And let's see for the climb and cruise checklist. So igniter, of course, goes off. External lights, we can switch off the landing light, rest stays on. Fuel select auto switch comes on, and that's it. Power setting for cruise, that's all fine. ITT is within limits, torque is within limits. Propeller RPM is within limits. We could actually reduce it a little bit. Maybe that makes it also a little bit easier on the ears. Like 1500. I'm not sure if you actually do that in the Epic or if you just keep it running on 1700. But well, Contrary to the Cirrus, for example, here at least we have a prop lever, so why not use it? We have already passed Padua here and really are almost abeam to Venice. And yeah, Aviano is the next thing coming up. That's essentially here right in the front of our nose. And from there it's only a few more kilometers until we reach Risom, which is the first intersection of the first waypoint of the IFR part of the flight. So it's going very quickly. We are moving along here at 300 knots true airspeed, and yeah, 310 knots true airspeed. So actually we need to really take this time now and do some preparations for the approach. So one thing to remember is that maybe I can pull that up in the browser here for you to see. So we are going once we're going past Ogoti, we have to step down to flight level 110. That's something to notify. So that we reach Reven in flight level 110, and then we want to be at flight level 80 once we reach Kebub, which is this one. So in Barbie, which is the start of the arrival route, we should be at flight level 80. Okay, that shouldn't be a problem. Let's have a look at the approach plate. Yeah, the whole Barbie 1 Papa arrival basically is just a straight in from Barbie to the Portoroz VOR DME, and that's 8 miles. And the only thing we have to do here essentially is to step down from whatever altitude we have at Barbie to not lower than 2,700 feet. That's what we have to do, and for the visual approach it's then 1600, but I will pull up the approach chart here on SkyDemon in a minute, so we can go through that with a little bit more detail. Sometimes I have the feeling that The G1000, the Laminar Research G1000 is somehow a little bit interfering with the additional stuff the EPIC puts in. So right now I wanted to bring up the central G1000 to full size, but that's not working as it usually does by clicking into the window. It's doing nothing, so that's a little bit annoying. So what I wanted to do is to put in the approach already and the arrival. Let's obviously do the arrival first. And that was the Barbie to Papa. And we'll load that. And let's put in also the approach, which is the VR DME15. And let me check the initial approach fix. Yeah, that should be the Portoroz VR DME, which is also the point where the Barbie 1 Papa arrival leads us. Okay, but we just load that for the time being and continue here on our route. Okay, you can see here down there that all the approach and arrival stuff has been loaded in. Okay, coming up on resume in a few seconds. This is really nice here, this big broad riverbed coming out of the Alps. Very nice, very scenic. Okay. So we have cycled to the next waypoint. That's Gotek, Golf Oscar Tango Echo Kilo, and we are now on the Quebec 707 airway. Few more clouds coming up in front of us. Let's have a look at the outside air temperature. -10. Yeah, maybe we just put on the pitot heat like that. And one thing we have actually forgotten is to put on the transponder. And probably since we are now IFR, we've also received a new transponder code. Very nice, 300 knots, and what are we actually burning in terms of fuel? Fuel flow, 72 gallons. That's quite a bit, but having the speed in mind, not so much after all. Okay, I think we have to switch tanks the first time. Whoop, that wasn't good. Okay, let's feather the prop and see what do we have in the checklist for an air start. Looks like we only have the normal checklist. That's bad. Let's start some descent. Okay, let's see if we can do that by hand. Well, it is turning, so if we have the igniter on, it should actually come back, shouldn't it? Wow, that's a hot start. That probably was below 5 seconds, huh? Let's see, okay, we are back in business. And okay, wow, that was something. So the obvious error was here to turn the fuel selector in the wrong direction, but I'm pretty sure that in the real aircraft that wouldn't have caused an immediate engine shutdown, because there is, for sure, there is some sort of an intermediate header tank between the main tanks and the engine. But anyway, I think we have managed that and we are back in business. Definitely had to get the engine inspected in Portoroz. Hope that's not too expensive. At least we need to read out all the telemetry from the engine electronics to see if there was some potential problem and by how much we busted the temperature limit during the air restart. Okay, let's climb back up to our intended altitude. If I hit flight level change here again, autopilot should bring up the nose. Yes, it does. We are still on track. We are now on the left tank. Everything else seems to be fine. Engine is running nicely. Nothing else. No other warnings. So I'd say we are still good to go. Ooh. Well, it's actually nice to have some unforeseen situations in the simulator, because usually in the simulator everything is much too perfect and works much too well. And in that case it would actually have been a good thing to have the emergency checklist at hand, because the normal checklist really doesn't tell you anything about an air restart. So yeah, next time we bring the emergency checklist. Okay, let's get back to our flight plan. Where are we? We are from Tango India Bravo Romeo Oscar to Pesut Papa Echo Sierra Uniform Tango. That's nice. And after Pesut, our top of descent is coming up. So let's view the Sky Demon to have some more situational awareness for you. So after this turn, the next waypoint, Ogodi, that should already be passed in flight level 110. No, actually not 140, but the top of descent is basically this next waypoint. It's very close to the next waypoint. Okay, so Ogodi we can still be in flight level 140, but then Riefen, the next one, we will be already descending. Look a little bit out of the window. Slovenian Alps below us. Unfortunately, visibility is a little bit worse. Can't almost see anything in that direction now, not even the Adriatic Sea. I was hoping to have a nice view here during this turn back to the west, but unfortunately that's not the case. just below this layer, very nice. And now it seems that it's even coming down a little bit, and we will go IMC. Yep. Okay. Something to do for the descent checklist. Power is as required. Airspeed below 270 knots indicated. Pitot heat is already on. ATIS, we will look for that in a second approach briefing. Yeah, basically as we said, Barbie to Papa arrival is just this is just a straight into Portoroz, and then we will do the URDME approach, which is an outbound procedure turn inbound kind of thing, and we should have visual conditions there anyway, but we will pull up the approach chart on SkyDemon in a second once we are in the descent. Okay, so we are good for descent. Let's put in the new altitude. 11,000. Hit flight level change and reduce the power a little bit, so that brings us in a nice descent. Now we can see the Adriatic Sea again. Very nice. I must say again, I really like the default explain weather. It's not so bad. The only thing which is really bad, which you have seen right now, is that the changes between different weather situations when you transition from one area with a certain forecast to another is a little bit abrupt. If they somehow manage to blend in those a little bit more, then the experience would be very good. That's at least my opinion. Okay, let's have a look at the approach chart. That's up here, that's Barbie. That's basically the Barbie to Papa arrival. And what we will do is pick up the holding pattern here, fly the outbound leg, the inbound leg, and then follow the VOR-DME approach, which is here, this outbound on the radial 306 to 4.2 DME, Portoroz, then a right turn, and then inbound on the runway 15 final approach course. Let's see if we can dial in the ATIS. No, seems as Portoroz doesn't have 80s, only tower, so we cannot get any automated information here. So only thing we can do is have a look at the latest stuff that the autorotor gave us here. Yeah, and that's essentially few clouds in 3000 feet QNH 1007 and the wind from 220 at 08 knots. So that's still fine for the approach on runway 15. Okay, so nothing really critical here in terms of weather, so we can proceed as planned. Okay, where are we? We are going from Ronchi to Barbie, and that's already our the start of our arrival. So we have to see that we get down to 8000, so flight level 80. And we also have to activate the arrival in the flight plan. Well, I think the arrival is actually loaded already, yeah. Let's see if it sequences automatically into the arrival. You can always hit a direct to here. Okay, in the arrival we have to step down to as low as 2,700 feet. Let's get some more track. Put in 3000 here. I think that's fine. Really bad visibility. You can see the coast of, or well, that's still Trieste, I think. No, that's already the Slovenian coast here. But the visibility is really bad. That's not reflected in the weather information we had. Looks much better here. Well, anyway, we have to deal with it. And now we are on the arrival. And it has sequenced automatically to Portoroz via RDME. That's nice. We should put that into the nav1, which in the frequency is 115.15. 115.15 identified. There's the airport below us. And I said let's go to heading mode. and we somehow messed up the holding, I think. Okay, let's turn around here, slow down a little bit and intercept the outbound track. Actually this was completely right, only the last decision was wrong. So we were actually exactly where we were supposed to be. The only thing was I was turning into the wrong direction here. So we were actually right at the correct point to enter the holding, but I did the wrong thing here. Sorry. So let's just make a left turn. We are basically in VMC anyway. So let's turn around here and then intercept the outbound course. Keep up the speed, about 200 knots would be nice. Fortunately, the weather is really bad. I'm very sorry about that. Well, not really bad, but it's not looking as glorious as it could look. Again, here below us the airport, and once we are overhead we are following the approach, which I can also put in here again. And show you in Sky Demon. Okay, so it's also time for the landing lights, of course. And before we start the procedure turn back in, we want to go down to 1600 feet. It's 18, 16, before landing checklist, fuel select auto is off. Fuel selector is still on the fullest tank. Flaps come down once we are slow enough, and yep, that's it for the moment. Okay, we are going into the turn already. Time to slow down a little bit more. And our minimum descent altitude will be 780 feet. Go flaps take off. Gears coming down. Okay, and I have the fielded side. And yeah, let's go manual flight. Nice view of Portoroz below us. Okay.
1,000.
Flaps full. That really slows it down. The airport is situated in sort of a marshland thingy, where salt, the thing where you retrieve salt from the ocean. This sort of area is that. So this is the gray stuff you see below us.
500.
A little bit high here. And welcome to Portoroz. Let's park beside this, the left Avanti here, right of the Avanti, right side. Okay, here we are. After landing and shutdown checklist, power lever is idle, flaps is up, trim is reset, air pressurization is off, igniter is off, pitot heat is off, external lights, just leave the beacon on, power lever is idle, beta is off, condition lever low idle, propeller lever feather, and trim master off, autopilot master off, air condition is off, oh no, that stays on for a moment. And condition lever cutoff. Fuel pumps off. And that's it, I'd say. Nice. Let's have one more look to the outside. Look around. So you can see the actual city of Portoroz is over here, and maybe we can zoom out a little bit more and then go to the other side. Yeah, up. Yeah, exactly like this. So that's Portoroz, the main town, and it has a big marina down there, lots of boats, lots of people going there for sailing and other maritime activities. And it's a nice waterfront with lots of hotels and so on. And then the actually even nicer thing is the city of Piran, which is this. It's a part of Portoroz more or less, but it has a very old, stylish harbor and nice city center, very old houses, and yeah, that's the typical sort of visit you would make for having a nice dinner or something like that when you have some business in Portoroz. Okay, so that's it. Here we are. Unfortunately, really, the weather is not that great, and also the flight was quite eventful with that mid-air shutdown of the engine, and a little bit, well, in the aftermath of that, the slightly, suboptimal approach, I would say, that needs a little bit better preparation next time. But anyway, we made it, and let's see how we continue from here. Maybe we explore a little bit further down the Adriatic Sea, go to maybe the island of Sadar or something like this, one of the nice Croatian hotspots, and then we at some point have to turn back north in order to go back to Germany at some point, and most probably that would be via, so we are here right now, so maybe we continue a little bit down here to one of the nice Croatian islands and then go back up via Venice and then right back to Germany in the next 2 or 3 episodes. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and see you next time.